Catalonia is a region of northwestern Spain. It's home to Barcelona, 7.5 million people, and a proud tradition of independence dating back nearly 1,000 years. Although officially part of Spain since the state was created, the region has its own language and cultural identity. Its levels of autonomy, like those of other Spanish regions, have varied over time. During the 20th century dictatorship of General Franco, the culture, language and identity of Catalonia was suppressed, but the region enjoyed greater freedom when in 1975. In 2006, a landmark vote secured even greater autonomy for Catalonia, including enhanced judiciary and taxation powers. This was reversed in 2010 when a Spanish court ruled some of the freedoms unlawful, and more than 1 million people held a march in Barcelona in protest. Video: the Catalan road trip to Brussels. Why independence? Several reasons. Catalonia's distinct culture and language mean many people don't feel Spanish, and the legacy of Franco's oppression only adds to the view that the region is ruled from the outside. The case is also economic. Supporters of independence say the region gives far more to the Spanish economy than it gets back, and believe Catalonia pays too much money into central government and gets little in return. Accounting for around 16% of Spain's 46 million population, it contributes about 20% of the country's GDP, produces 1/3 of its exports and receives 1/3 of its foreign investment. But support for independence is by no means universal. While recent months have seen hundreds of thousands of people take to the streets demanding independence, anti-secessionist demonstrations have filled Barcelona with a sea of Spanish flags, too. That was revealed in the referendum, which reopened the independence debate. Video: why these people don't feel Spanish. On the 1st of October, around 2.2 million people in Catalonia voted on whether to secede from Spain. More than 90% of those who turned up were in favor of independence, and celebrations filled Barcelona streets as the region's leader, Carles Puigdemont, formally declared independence a few weeks later. But not everyone was happy. Turnout for the referendum was about 40%. The poor showing was attributed in part to the Spanish government defining the vote as unconstitutional, which turned many people against the referendum and was followed by voter suppression by the Spanish police. Joel, 46, works in it. The Spanish got kicked out of Mexico, South America, Cuba. Always the same. They won't learn. The only way they will yield to democracy or changes is by force. Letitia, 36, is a tour guide. This will rude, but basically this is like a first world problem. For the privileged people, Catalans have their housing, parliament, police, education. They have everything except a few little disagreements about money, and that's all. Jose, 54, is a geographer. I don't like the independence. I am from Barcelona. I am Catalan. But I am Spanish and European, too. Manuel, 78, is retired. What is happening now is real history. It's David and Goliath. Christina, 25, works in marketing. Politicians have been looking at their own interests and raising differences between people instead of building on common things. I think it's worse for the people, and it's making us separate more. Roman, 34, is a set painter. It's a big mess. It's big trouble. I think that it's tough to speak about it, and the politicians don't speak about it. Jordi, 42, is a product designer. We're not talking about left and right anymore. Everything kind of has more to do with nationalities rather than ideology. It's distracting from the economic reality, putting the focus in another place. Lucia, 30, works for an environmental and central government, which is a right-wing government, is not willing at all to have any type of dialogue, and I think that's the central debate. It's really a debate on the right to decide, as people, what we want. Ricard, 58, is a lawyer. We are fed up with the corruption. We are fed up of the threatening. We are fed up of the far right on the streets. We need a new president and new politics. Crystal, 39, works in customer service and points are right. We are financially and economically independent. Maybe it has its positive things. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, depends. Working for a Catalan company, I may be worried about the future, yes. Andre, 44, is a store owner. For me, politics is difficult to explain. The politics here is difficult for people. Oriol, 26, is a financial worker. It's a very sad moment for the country. Especially because I think we could have avoided getting to this point. closed caption, but it was also due to more widespread objections to the referendum, which many felt was divisive and illegitimate. Some polls identify the number of people who support unity with Spain as a majority, a group who refer to themselves as the silent majority and say they're marginalized by the vocal secessionists. Image pro-unity supporters take part in a demonstration in central Barcelona for Madrid. Catalan independence seems unthinkable. The Spanish government headed by Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has rejected Mr. Puigdemont's request for negotiations, insisting the referendum was illegal and unconstitutional. Video silent majority reject independence although it supports some regional autonomy. The Spanish constitution says Spain cannot be broken up, and Article 155 gives the state loosely defined powers, when approved by the Senate, to act against regions that attempt to secure independence. The most important thing is to be within the frame of the Spanish constitution, Spanish Foreign Minister Ildefonso Castro said. You can disagree with law, but you cannot disobey the law. If you disobey law, you become an outlaw. Madrid's hard line was reflected during the election and what followed it. On the 1st of October, following a court ruling that the vote was illegal, Spanish police seized ballot boxes and clashed with voters at polling stations as they attempted to prevent it vote taking place. The Catalan Health Ministry reported that 900 people were injured, though much fewer were thought to have been hospitalized, prompting an international outcry. Almost immediately after the region declared independence, Mr. Rajoy imposed direct rule on Catalonia, dissolving its parliament, dismissing officials and suspending the region's autonomy. Several high-ranking members of the Catalan cabinet were also detained in Spain, under charges including sedition, rebellion and misuse of public funds, while Carles Puigdemont and 4 other leaders fled to Brussels. They will remain there for elections, scheduled for December 21. The vote was declared by Mr. Rajoy, who says it is necessary to decide a new 135-member Catalan parliament in order to restore democratic rule in the face of arbitrary and excluding decisions that have led the people of Catalonia down a blind road. Video: Will Catalonia create a domino effect? Europe's dilemma. One reason the referendum caused waves is the fear that it could provide fuel for similar independence movements elsewhere, a domino effect of separatism across the globe. Catalonia certainly isn't alone in its desire for independence. In Spain, the Basque Country and Galicia are home to secessionist movements, while some Corsicans want to secede from France. And in the UK, of course, the Scottish independence movement still looms large. For European leaders who rejected Catalan leaders' call for intervention, insisting the issue was an internal matter, the possible consequences of Catalan independence are uncomfortable to contemplate.